Hello everyone and welcome to Spilling the Tea Tuesday. So grab a chair, take a seat because you know I'm going to be dropping some deets about manifestation. As usual, I made a post and I asked you guys what you wanted to talk about, and this time I chose some topics that seem to be on people's minds and of course most interesting to me today. So the first question is manifesting self-concept for someone else, and another asked about changing someone else's state. Both kind of the same thing. So when you manifest self-concept for someone else, you do it like you do for yourself. You're going to affirm that that they're doing amazing. Whatever it is that you want to see about them changed. If they are in a state of depression, you're going to see them as a state of wellness, as a state of happiness, joy. If they have anxiety, you're going to see them feeling happy, safe, secure. So whatever it is that you want to change about them, you would have affirmations like how you would change yourself. If you are wanting to change a lot about them, you can write down a list of the things that you would like to see with them. Is it you want them to be a better communicator? Are you wanting them to be happy? Are you wanting them to pick up, be cleaner? What is it? A maturity, more consistent, whatever that it is. Beautiful, skinny, muscular, athletically fit, whatever it is that you can think of that you want to change about that person, you can write it down on a list and then just literally affirm that they are perfection, that they are thriving, that they are the perfect versions of themselves. If you want to change like a very specific aspect of them, then you would just affirm for those specific things. As you guys know, I've changed the state of someone in my life, and basically I just kept affirming that they were happy, that they were more joyous than they'd ever been in their entire life. And I saw them as that version. That was the version that I was willing to accept. And so you affirm for exactly what you want, and then you see them as that version. You only accept them as that version. You reject any other version, just like you do for you, just like you would do for a specific person. It is literally, you affirm exactly how you want them to be. Oh, they're so happy. They're so joyful. They're the best communicator on the face of this planet. They're always constantly telling me how they feel. They can easily express their feelings. If you want a certain love language, because that's, one of the new biggest things. If you want someone more affectionate, they're the most affectionate person I've ever met. Whatever it is, that's what you affirm for. Happiness, whatever, literally doesn't matter. You see them as that version, you affirm for it, or you can do that blanket one with a list that I just described, but just start seeing them as the version that you want, and they will conform. They will conform. Someone's asking about dealing with constant spiraling. If you are constantly spiraling, it is because a couple of potential different things. The 3D is not matching what you're affirming. And so you're looking too much to the 3D for confirmation. You're seeing that it's not in line with your manifestation, and you're just getting upset about it. The other thing is potentially you have not let go of the emotion of the old story, or let go of the old story enough. So you're going to have to do an internal check-in and see what it is. Are you constantly looking to the 3D for confirmation, seeing that it doesn't match with what you're affirming for, and then spiraling because they don't match and you're like afraid that you're never going to get it? If you're having that fear, like, oh my God, I'm never going to get it, it's never going to come, then, to work on that, first of all, I would stop looking at the 3D for confirmation, because that's not where you get your fucking confirmation. Number two, I would work on believing that I was a master at manifesting, that I was the operant power of my reality, and that I would improve my self-concept. So make sure that you're stepping into your power every single day. If you have not watched the video that I recently dropped, you're going to want to watch that, because it talks about stepping into your power every day as the operant power of your reality by affirming I'm a master at manifesting. I always get what I want. Everything always works out for me. And when you step into your power every single day by affirming those type of things, it is shown to me daily I'm the most powerful manifestor on the face of this planet. When you affirm those things regularly and you affirm your self-concept, I'm confident, I'm calm, collected, powerful, I feel powerful at all times, things like that, you raise your self-concept and you start to feel better about you. And when you look at the 3D, even if it doesn't match, you're like, I know I'm the shit over here. I don't care. The other thing is, like I was saying, old story, the emotion attached to the old story, literally write out the old, you don't have to write out the entire old story. What you do is you write down the emotion that it brings out in you. Let's say you're manifesting a specific person. You can write a letter to them and literally tell them how you feel about what has happened, how it made you feel, how you feel about you for manifesting it, because you manifested it. So acknowledge how you feel about you for doing that. Like you're angry. It upsets you when this happened, X happened. If you're manifesting money and you feel like you're spiraling because of money, write down how you feel about having no money and, how it upsets you that you don't have any money and how, you're not happy with yourself for manifesting that. Write down those things and then burn it. Burn that letter. Tap out your emotion with EFT. Do some things that help you to get rid of that emotional attachment, because when that emotional attachment is lessened, you're not going to spiral as much, because there's going to be a less of an emotional response if you see that the 3D is not in line with your manifestation. So work on those things and then continue to affirm and persist as always. Manifesting a new lover or celebrity. It's the same thing as manifesting any other specific person. If you are manifesting a new person, you can literally write down all the qualities that you want in this new person and then just affirm that you're with the perfect man or woman. Like, the perfect man is pursuing me. The perfect woman's pursuing me. I have found the perfect man/woman. I love being the girlfriend of the perfect man or woman. Like, you can literally use perfect man, perfect woman as instead of saying an SP's name. I love being in an amazing, beautiful, committed relationship. I'm with such an amazing person. They treat me like an absolute diamond. Write down the things that you want, affirm that you're with the absolute perfect person, and then just continue to affirm and persist for it. Celebrity, no different. Take them off the pedestal. Doesn't matter that they're a fucking celebrity. You can literally have fucking Aquaman, just period. So affirm for them like you would for any other specific person. So-and-so is madly in love with me. I'm all they can think about. Things will move in your reality so that you end up being put in contact with this person, or you meet this person, or they message you. I mean, it literally does happen. It happens all the time. So don't, concern yourself if that they're a celebrity, because being a celebrity is just a circumstance. Circumstances don't matter. Affirm for yourself, for your self-concept. Yank that person off the pedestal. You're the one that's supposed to be on the pedestal. It literally doesn't matter who the fuck that they are, period. Hardcore facts. Celebrity status, irrelevant. Put that shit in the trash where it belongs. So this question says, changing self-concept, scared people will think of me how I was before. Okay. When you're affirming for changing your self-concept, people are going to see the new self-concept. They aren't going to see the old self-concept. It's like they'll forget about it. Or if they don't directly completely forget, it's going to be things like, oh my gosh, you look so young. Oh, you have lost so much weight. You are glowing. You are absolutely drop dead gorgeous. Or, you'll start getting compliments from people. So they won't necessarily think of you and be like, oh my God, last time I saw her, she was a 3 or he was a 3. No, they're going to see you as this new version because you're projecting out a new version, and you're affirming that they're going to see you as this new version because you changed yourself from within. Your body must conform, and everyone must think those thoughts about you. So if you're literally affirming, I'm the most gorgeous woman on the face of this planet, I'm the sexiest guy that has ever existed, everyone thinks I'm drop dead gorgeous, everyone thinks that I'm handsome as fuck, people are going to see that. And it doesn't matter what physical change that you change, people will see that, period. And so will you. So they aren't going to be looking at you thinking about what you looked like a year ago, 5 years ago, because they're either most likely not going to remember, or they're just going to be like, oh wow, you're just so beautiful, I can't take my eyes off you. It's just kind of like, a lot of people have commented to me, right? Because I affirm that I look like I'm 25 years old or 30 years old or whatever. I sometimes change it like, oh, I'm 30 years old, but I look 25. I'm going to be 48. Nobody thinks I'm fucking 48 or going to be 48, period. Now, I've always had pretty decent skin for a lot of the time because I have a family, my mother always looked young, okay? And so my assumption's always been I'm going to be like her and look young for a really long time. And that's obviously carried over because I've had that assumption. But since I've been affirming that I look like I'm 30 years old, I've been starting to look to people and to myself younger than what I did. But people aren't like, oh my God, you looked hideous a year ago, you're so fucking sexy now. People are like, oh my God, your skin's so beautiful. I can't believe that, you're going to be 48. You're gorgeous. Of course I am. Why? Because I am, and I fucking affirm it. So when you affirm for your appearance changes or anything about your self-concept, whether it's you're a nice person, everybody thinks that you're amazing, people will start to conform and they'll mirror that back to you. They're going to mirror that back to you by saying exactly what you affirm or giving you a bunch of compliments. So they're not going to remember really the old version of you, period. How to affirm to feel like you're not lying to yourself. So you have to remember, we have a logical part of our brain. It's just the way that it is. And so when you learn about the law of assumption, you are kind of battling your mind for a little while because we had a certain way that we were raised, that we were taught of how things worked, and then we learn how things truly work, and it's completely different from what we were taught, just period. So we have to overcome those mindsets. Now, when you first start affirming for something, there is a part of your brain, I like to call that ego part, who tries to protect you. She's Felicia when she's agreeing with you. She's Felicia when she's acting a fool and she's not. So when you start initially affirming for something, your mind, Felicia, wants to protect you. That's part of her job. And she's going to be like, that's not the way that it is. And you're going to feel like you're lying to yourself. So the way that you combat that, first of all, is the repetition of the affirming. If when you're affirming, you're just like, you know what, this feels like a bold ass lie, you can do one of multiple options. Number one, you can scale back what it is that you're affirming just a little bit and almost like do it in a step. So like if, let's say you're affirming for an SP, because this is probably the easiest example that I can think of right off the top of my head. If affirming SP is madly in love with me, if you're like, SP is so madly in love with me, if that feels like a stretch to you because you're in no contact or you've never met and you're like, why the fuck would this dude be madly in love with me? Doesn't even know who the hell I am. Then why don't you scale it back to he likes you, or even just likes being your boyfriend, or, you know, that he thinks that you're drop dead gorgeous, that he thinks of you all the time. There's like a step that you could scale back to until you feel more comfortable with affirming he's madly in love with me, or he's crazy about me, obsessed with me, etc. Now, you can also change your affirmation to an ask-formation, which is changing it to the form of a question. So instead of saying, you know, SP's madly in love with me, you could be like, why is SP madly in love with me? Because you're going to have less resistance when you put it to a question, but it's still going to impact your brain for the most part the same. It's going to boil down to being the same. It's just going to be less resistance to you because you're asking a question instead of like saying it as a factual statement. If, you know, you want to add flair, because adding some flair and putting some assertiveness behind it, saying it with authority, can oftentimes make you feel on the pedestal and take away that feeling like you're lying to yourself. You can be like, why the fuck is SP so obsessed with me? And that can actually help you out. Now, if you're like, you know what, I don't like those options, try tapping in your affirmations, because tapping it on the meridian points lowers cortisol. It lowers the stress level hormones. It does actual changes to the brain and to the body. And, you know, when you are tapping on those points and reducing your anxiety and reducing your resistance, your brain, in my opinion, does the buy-in faster. Tap them in with EFT. And so you can choose many different options. Maybe, you know, have an appointment with Nikki and find out your manifestation type, because maybe you're doing it one way and it feels like you're really lying to yourself, but maybe you're not doing how you naturally would manifest the best, because there's, you know, some people who script better, some people who rampage better, some people who do, you know, a repetitive affirming, some people use music. You know, Nikki did all this research and discovered that there's different ways that we all think. And so maybe you need to try out some different ones to see what works best for you. There's all different things that you can do in order to not feel so much like you're lying to yourself, but the repetition and repeating the thought is going to get your brain to do the buy-in that you need to do in order to move past the feeling like you're lying. So continue to affirm and persist, or do some of the options that I just mentioned to lessen that. How to ignore the 3D when everything feels bad, like there's only one reality, like this is the natural thing to happen, and it's the thing that you don't want. You have to remember, the 3D is an illusion. It is based of your old thoughts and assumptions, whether you want to look at it as an illusion like I do, or whether you want to just look at it as like, hey, that's old news, fake news. It's just my old thoughts playing out. Both, you know, to a certain extent, the same thing, just depends on your perspective. It's just old thoughts playing out. To me, it's an illusion. because it's totally changeable by you. And so if you're seeing shit in the 3D and it's not in line with your manifestation, it's not permanent. It's changeable. It's changeable by you changing your thoughts and assumptions. It just seems to you right now to be impossible because whatever it is that you're manifesting is following what you assume that is a natural progression. And it's what you currently assume that it's the way that it's supposed to be, or that it's a progression that's expected. Start changing that assumption, because manifestation can be completely illogical. We know that that's to be for a fact. The physical appearance changes that we've seen, the money showing up just randomly in people's bank accounts, people getting refunds on shit from 3, 4, 5 years ago. Like, who the fuck gets refunds on stuff from like 3 to 4 to 5 years ago? Obviously, it's something that happens, but how common is it? So whatever it is that you're affirming for, it can happen in your reality, because you wouldn't even have the desire if it wasn't already completed. Remember, when you have a desire, it comes from your God self, means creation is already finished, and you have to become the version of you that has it. And you become the version of you that has it by continuing to affirm and persist and have your brain do the buy-in that it's yours, that it belongs to you. Does that mean that you have to believe it to get it? I don't believe that you do, because I've gotten plenty of things that I never actually believed that I would get. I just either affirmed and persisted for it, or it was something I didn't give a shit about and it just fucking showed up. So, which meant I had no resistance to it, which you get rid of the resistance by what? Affirming and persisting, doing EFT, writing the letter and burning it. So when you see shit in your 3D that's not in line with your manifestation, you have to tell yourself, this is the old news, fake news. This is the illusion. And whatever is going on, that is based on my old thoughts and assumptions. And so you ignore it by affirming and persisting. If you can't look at something and be like, oh, well, this is what's really happened, and revise on the spot, then look at it for what it is, that it's the old story playing out, that it's fake news, that it belongs in the owl right back there, the trash can, because it's just a bunch of bullshit. And so, and look at it with the eyes of, I don't give a fuck, because I know that this is changing, because I'm going to affirm and persist for what I want. Let go of that old story more. Let go of the assumption that this is the natural thing to happen. Let go of that, because it's not the natural thing to happen. The natural thing to happen is whatever the fuck you say that it is. And if you say that it's XYZ and you're getting ABC right now, because ABC is on your old thoughts, you can change it to XYZ no matter how bizarre that seems to be. Do you think that I thought for 3 seconds when I was bitching about having to take a test that an international test platform would shut the fuck down so that I would end up taking my test exactly when I wanted to take it? No. Defies logic. Completely. Grades being changed, period. So you affirm and persist for exactly what you want. If you're thinking that something is the natural way for it to occur, that it is an assumption, and that assumption doesn't fucking work for you. Put that shit right over there in the trash where it belongs. Period. And get rid of it. Rid yourself of it. Write out some old story and burn it. Do some EFT and continue to affirm and persist. And then work on manifesting some other stuff. You all get wrapped up in the big manifestation that you want. They're all the same. We just see them as big because we just see them as being bigger. Because, a nickel to us is small and $100,000 to us is big. Why? Because that's what we've been taught. And so you have to put some of those thoughts right over there too. Because a manifestation is a manifestation to your God self. It doesn't matter whether it's a nickel or whether it's $100,000. It doesn't matter whether it's a new person or a specific person. It doesn't matter whether it is your nose looking one way or looking another way. Breast size, weight, your state, the house that you're in, none of it matters to your God self. It doesn't give a fuck. It sees it all the same. It's all just a manifestation. You affirm and persist and you get what you want. So start affirming and persisting for what you want. And don't look at things as big or small. Work on manifesting some other shit, because when you manifest other things, you will gain your confidence and be in the operant power. So write down a list of some fun things that you want to manifest and be like, wouldn't it be funny if XYZ happened? And manifest some other shit. Concentrate on some other shit. Don't have your entire lives wrapped up around the 1 or 2 manifestations that you feel matter the most to you. Like I've said before, and I'll say it again, don't sit at home like the old cat lady waiting for shit. Make life happen for you, not happen to you. Affirm and persist for what you want. Ignore the 3D because it is baloney. It's baloney. Multiple people were asking, I think, about like sports betting or were teams winning. Assumptions. If you're affirming, I'm always a winner. I always win everything. I always win the jackpot. My horses always win. My team always wins. I win everything. You can affirm for the money aspect of it. You can affirm that you're always a winner, that you're always a jackpot winner, that your team always wins, that your biggest bets always win. However it is that you want to affirm, whatever your purpose is for the sports team or sports bets or having something win your favorite team, you just affirm and persist for it. And in your reality, you'll be the one that will win. So keep affirming and persisting that like, hey, I'm always a jackpot winner. I'm the very definition of a jackpot winner. I'm always a winner. I always win all the jackpots. I'm always the luckiest. My team is the luckiest team on the face of this planet. They're always winning. My team is the best team. They win every single fucking game. They're like, do the numbers, 100-0, whatever that it is. I don't know. I'm really not totally into sports. But you affirm and persist for what you want. And how would you tell a friend that your team won or that you always won all the bets that you placed or that you won the most money at the racetrack? How would you tell a friend that? That's what you affirm. How to find clarity when confused. You literally affirm for it. I have clarity on all situations. I have clarity at all times. I have clarity about. So if you're affirming for getting a job and you want clarity which job to take, if you have more than one specific person and you want to know which one to choose, you can be like, I have total and complete clarity on which job is best for me or which job I would enjoy more. I have total and complete clarity on which specific person, I would like to be with more or that the best man or woman win. I mean, you can word it like that if you wish, but you can literally just affirm for clarity. I always make the best decisions for me. I have all the knowledge I need to make a decision. Affirm shit like that so that you can have the knowledge that you need in order to move forward. So those were the questions that I took for today because, sometimes if there's 100 questions, that is an impossibility for me to do them all. But I try to pick a handful of different topics so that you guys can get some knowledge on some different things and potentially be entertained just a little bit. So you know the deal. Next week, there's going to be another video. I still have to kind of go through and upload my old Spilling of the Tea videos to the YouTube channel so that it is better for you guys and so that you can play them. You don't have to be in the Facebook app if you don't want to, and they'll have the captions, subtitles, all that business. So as you know, I've enjoyed chatting with you, and of course, I will check in with you later.